And good evening, everyone. This is truly a momentous day. The Democrats have officially nominated Barack Obama, an African American, to be president of the United States. It was both historic and dramatic as the woman he defeated, Hillary Clinton, called on the convention to nominate him by acclamation. Our political analysts, Bob Schieffer and Jeff Greenfield, were watching as the crowd literally went wild. Bob, there were a lot of behind-the-scenes maneuverings. We didn't know until really just a few minutes ago that the acclamation would take place among the New York delegation, but it all seemed to go off without a hitch, and everyone seems happy at this point.
Well, they were, and this was quite an operation, working all of this out. The Clinton people really wanted every state to be counted in the roll call. All the state chairmen did. You know, they love to get up and say, Texas, the home of good steaks or something. But the Obama people wanted this to come off without embarrassment to Hillary Clinton and her supporters. They gave them a chance to cast their votes in the early going. But what they did is they worked it out. When it got to the state of New Mexico, they yielded to Illinois, Barack Obama's home state. Chicago Mayor Richie Daley then yielded to the state of New York, and lo and behold, suddenly Hillary Clinton appears on the floor and moves that they nominate and elect Barack Obama by acclamation. They squeezed every bit of drama out of it that they could. I think they're very pleased with the way this all came out.
And Jeff, I know that you have noted the historic significance of this moment. The first serious female contender nominating the first African-American presidential nominee of his party. And of course, he'll be delivering his acceptance speech tomorrow, 45 years to the day after Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech on the Washington Mall. It really is something to behold, isn't it, Jeff?
It is. In fact, right near me is the Hawaii delegation, and I talked to Senator Daniel Inouye, an American of Japanese descent, a World War II hero who lost an arm. And in the midst of the celebration, I simply went up to him and said, Senator, did you ever think you'd see this day? And he just flat out shook his head and said, no. Now, there's a potential problem here in all this celebration, which is the Obama campaign does not want to make race the center of this campaign. In fact, Obama has presented himself as a post-racial candidate. But Katie, when you realize that many of these African-American delegates a few short decades ago could not have cast a vote in their home state, it is impossible to look at what has happened tonight and not recognize a moment in American history. The key for the Obama campaign is to say, okay, that's done. Now let's talk about economics and what's wrong with the Republicans, Katie.
All right, Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, but getting back to the historic significance, this was such an emotional moment for so many of the delegates here. Byron Pitts was with a woman in the Minnesota delegation shortly after it was announced that Barack Obama would be the Democratic nominee by Hillary Clinton, and she was moved to tears. Let's watch.
I'm over by the South Carolina delegation. This lady with me, you've been crying for the last several minutes.
Yeah.
What's going on in your heart right now?
You know, I'm from New Jersey, and they passed it with all of their 127 votes. My father is from Georgia, and he marched on Washington, and he couldn't drink at white water fountains, and he has
Tell him we have
Alzheimer's
Senator
now.
Inouye.
Yeah, I saw him. He would be so proud that America was true to its ideals, and it voted for the best candidate, and it did not pay attention to skin color, and I get to see it.
Did you ever think you would see this
and
day?
I just wish Daddy that he knew what was happening.
Katie?
Joe Trippi, by the way, is a Democratic strategist, and Dan Bartlett was the communications director for President Bush. He is the former communications director. Both, though, are now CBS News consultants, and we're thrilled to have them on board. Dan, I want to start with you.
Sure.
Is the McCain campaign watching this historic moment, watching this emotion and this imagery, and thinking, shoot, how do we fight that?
Well, it's very hard to divorce yourself from the electricity in the hall here tonight. It is incredible to see the type of unity that the Barack Obama campaign wants to portray here. But remember, there's an other audience out there all across America. And typically when you're doing these conventions, you have a swing state put over the nominee. The fact that once again, the Clintons were at the center of the stage with Hillary Clinton dramatically coming in, Bill Clinton giving a speech later today. I still got to say that the McCain campaign going into this feels a lot better where they are than maybe they had thought about a month ago.
And Joe Trippi, let me pick up on something Jeff Greenfield just said. You know, history's been made, but now the Obama campaign has to move on and provide some clear-cut solutions to some of America's biggest problems, particularly the economy. So how do they make that transition, Joe?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to start to make it tonight with Joe Biden. I mean, they'll still be talking national security tonight, but the big test is tomorrow night when Barack Obama speaks. I mean, that's it, 75,000 people. He has to watch that he doesn't just launch into the stratosphere there. He's got to keep it down to earth, talk bread and butter, jobs, health care, you know, and take it to the economics, because those blue-collar voters are watching right now. And I just think that, you know, Hillary Clinton passing this to him was a real important moment. The first woman who had a shot, the first African-American who has a shot at the presidency. You know, this isn't just an historic moment in terms of Barack Obama. It's a history for the Democratic Party and what happened tonight.
All right, Joe Trippi and Dan, gentlemen, thanks so much. We'll be talking to you a bit later on. Thank you. Now, before flying here to Denver to accept the nomination, Barack Obama got in one final day of campaigning. Here's Dean Reynolds with that story.
Barack Obama tried to build a bridge to a key voting bloc today, telling an audience of veterans in Montana that this election provides a stark choice.
Do we have a president who gets that people are struggling every day, who gets that veterans are struggling every day, or do we have somebody who doesn't get it?
It was the latest in a series of similar descriptions of McCain. Out of touch and asleep at the switch are two other Obama favorites, but the McCain campaign has been hard at work trying to undo those efforts. First, with an ad attacking what it said was Obama's position on Iran.
Iran, radical Islamic government, known sponsors of terrorism. Obama says Iran is a tiny country, doesn't pose a serious threat. Obama, dangerously unprepared to be president.
But the ad is a stretch, because this is what Obama really said last May in Pendleton, Oregon, on the need for diplomacy.
Strong countries and strong presidents talk to their adversaries. I mean, think about it. Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us the way the Soviet Union posed a threat to us.
But painting Obama as a dangerous risk is a Republican mantra. Rudy Giuliani led the way in Denver just hours before Obama arrived.
Joe Biden, his running mate, and this is a very extraordinary situation, has quite often made the point that Barack Obama is unprepared to lead.
A parallel GOP attempt to sow Democratic discord has had limited success. On Monday, a Clinton delegate, Deborah Bartoshevich, told a news conference she was for McCain. But apparently it's for the wrong reasons, believing he is pro-abortion when he's actually spent years burnishing his anti-abortion credentials. Horrified McCain aides later avoided the subject. But the McCain campaign clearly hopes the news media will pick up these ads they're producing and give them wider circulation. Still, the man best suited to respond is Barack Obama himself, and that's why his speech tomorrow night is so important. Katie?
All right, Dean Reynolds here in Denver, but obviously in a different venue. Dean, thank you very much. The featured speaker here tonight, or at least one of the featured speakers, is former President Bill Clinton, and it's safe to say never has a convention speech by a former president been so wildly anticipated. Clinton, of course, is still very popular, but as our senior political correspondent Jeff Greenfield tells us, even Democrats now have mixed feelings about it.
It almost seems as if there are two Bill Clintons. One the delight, the other the despair of his party. He is the only two-term Democratic president since Franklin Roosevelt. But his missteps in his first years,
I think she deserves a gold medal for trying to fix the health care system.
And the collapse of his health care fight, led by his wife, cost the Democrats control of the Congress. He presided over a peace and prosperity era with a booming economy that drove up real incomes and produced huge budget surpluses. But his reckless personal conduct led to his impeachment and gave George W. Bush a powerful political message in 2000.
So when I put my hand on the Bible, I will swear to uphold the honor and dignity of the office to which I have been elected, so help me God.
He is the smartest, shrewdest political strategist in his party, who shaped and drove his own campaigns. But he did nothing to prevent the fatal miscalculations that doomed Hillary Clinton's campaign.
One more story, shame on you.
And some of his own efforts damaged hers. In his post-presidential years, he built a massive philanthropic enterprise that has touched lives all over the world.
You definitely will be there.
But his own financial activities, high-priced speeches, business dealings, and his foundation and library fundraising raised questions that may have hindered his wife's chances for a spot on the ticket.
He wants to help his party, and yet his own sort of volcanic personality sometimes gets in the way of that mission. So it's a question of which Bill Clinton we'll see on the stage tonight.
But Katie, if Bill Clinton wants to rehabilitate himself with those Obama delegates and those Obama supporters that he alienated in this primary season, the way to do it is with the most compelling argument about why Barack Obama should be president and John McCain shouldn't. Katie?
All right, Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, thanks so much. Now, later tonight, the convention will ratify Senator Obama's choice for a running mate, Joe Biden, the 65-year-old six-term senator from the state of Delaware.
The next Vice President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
He really needs no introduction. Joe Biden's been a U.S. Senator for 35 years.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Joe
how are
Biden's
you?
my name.
He won his first Senate seat in 1972 when he was just 29. But with that early victory came tragedy. Shortly after he was elected, his wife and infant daughter were killed by a drunk driver. His two sons badly injured.
I felt like a piece of me died.
Biden took the oath of office at his sons' bedsides and, in order to care for them, began his Capitol Hill career commuting from Wilmington to Washington, a practice he's never stopped. A powerful voice in Washington, Biden is chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. He voted to authorize the war in Iraq, but has since become an outspoken critic. Biden ran for president for the first time in 1987, but was forced to pull out following allegations he had plagiarized portions of a speech.
There will be other presidential campaigns.
He's had his share of medical problems, too. Surgery to repair 2 aneurysms.
I joke and say the 2 craniotomies I had for these aneurysms that took the top of my head off.
He's outspoken, but not always politically correct.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
And during his most recent presidential run, Biden seemed to have learned the error of his long-winded ways.
Senator Biden, words have in the past gotten you in trouble. Can you reassure voters in this country that you would have the discipline you would need on the world stage, Senator?
Yes.
And Senator Biden will address the convention later tonight. Coming up next from Denver, talking about it makes some people uncomfortable, but we're going to take a look at the role race and prejudice may play in this election. Today is the 100th anniversary of the birth of Lyndon Johnson. The convention will take note of that tomorrow. Johnson was the last Democratic presidential candidate to win a majority of the white vote. Experts say Barack Obama will need more than 40% to win this election. And right now, a CBS News poll shows he's getting only 38. Byron Pitts now with more on the race factor.
Moulton, Pennsylvania.
Don't get no better than this.
Where for an estimated 30,000 fans, drag racing is king. And for the many we spoke with, Barack Obama's race will be a factor this fall.
Do you think race will play a role in this election?
Absolutely.
Really?
I do.
Why?
Just from what other people say.
But what kind of things have you heard people say?
Well, that he's black and, you know, we've never had a black president. They're just, I guess, against that.
They don't want him in there, and because his name sounds like that other country.
Yeah, that's really good.
Volunteers at Obama's campaign headquarters in Scranton have heard it all before. Now, this is Democratic country, this part of the state?
Yes.
So why isn't Barack Obama an easy sell in this part of the state?
I still think it's because people don't know him that well.
He's on TV all the time? He's got commercials here?
Yes. But so that probably, maybe race is an issue too for some people still.
Obama got trounced by Hillary Clinton in the primary here, losing by 3-1. With 2 months left to go before the election, Obama's volunteers are working overtime to make sure race is not the decisive factor in November.
We need to put the right person in the White House. We need to look past that fungus called prejudice.
That won't be easy, says political analyst Larry Sabato.
Race it's one of the touchiest, most sensitive subjects in American culture and life. And it's going to play a role in this election, both to help Obama and to hurt Obama.
Senator Obama is the first African American with a serious chance of winning the presidency, and there's some concern that what happened to Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley could happen to Obama. In 1982, LA Mayor Tom Bradley was on the verge of becoming California's first black governor. Late polls showed Bradley holding a double-digit lead over his white opponent, but on Election Day, he lost. It turned out that many white voters who told pollsters they would back Bradley did not. That election became known as the Bradley effect, where some voters, pollsters say, may lie to hide their racial prejudice. Though in recent elections, there's been no real evidence of it.
There's no question that even though racial prejudice has decreased over time, there's still some of it out there, and it will show up at the polls.
It's a dilemma Senator Obama acknowledged early on.
Will there be some folks who probably don't vote for me because I'm black? Of course. But the question is, can we get a majority of the American people to give us a fair hearing?
Obama has work to do with white working-class voters. According to the latest CBS News New York Times poll, white voters without a college degree are supporting Senator McCain by 14 percentage points. Also among white voters with an income under $50,000, Obama is still edged out by McCain. At Chick's Diner, a local landmark in Scranton, for example, there, people told us,
you're working to go to work.
In these tough economic times,
We're just getting buried.
the color that will matter most, they said, is green.
Green, yellow, black, it doesn't matter. If he can perform and do the job, it does not matter to me. That's the way I feel about it. It doesn't matter what color you are. You can do your job, that's it.
Every voter I spoke with said race will be a factor in this election. Katie, the only question in their mind is how much of an issue it'll be on Election Day.
All right, Byron Pitts. Byron, thank you so much for that report. And from race to gender, by the way, behind me, all the female members of the House of Representatives on stage at this Democratic convention in Denver, Colorado. Up next, we'll have the rest of the day's news. Unease and the Big Easy, another huge storm, could be headed their way. Making news tonight beyond this convention, a dangerous storm that could hit the U.S. Gulf Coast. Gustav is blamed for at least 22 deaths in the Caribbean. It's weakened to a tropical storm as it heads for Cuba, but it is expected to strengthen over the Gulf and could become a major hurricane. Hari Srinivasan now is in New Orleans.
Sean Pittman of the Lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans is still cleaning up his house from Katrina's floods. With a levee right across the street, he's now nervous.
So you got faith in that wall you stare at every day?
No. No.
You don't have any faith in the levees?
No.
Why not?
I don't trust them.
Post-Katrina, rebuilding walls and rebuilding trust has been the task of the Army Corps of Engineers. They've accomplished a lot, but it may not be enough.
Well, our charter is to have this complete by 2011, and we're not there yet. And so there is risk, and even after the system is complete, there will still be risk.
Given the damage Gustav has already caused in the Caribbean, the governor of Louisiana has declared a state of emergency and placed 700 buses on hold for possible evacuations.
Now's the time to go to the store, stock up on those batteries, on those supplies. Don't wait till this weekend. Don't wait till we know whether the storm is coming here in 24, 48 hours. Don't wait.
The nervousness because Gustav's projected path is eerily similar to Katrina's just 3 years ago.
We do expect a major hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico.
The pumps and levees behind me work, but people here are hoping that Gustav doesn't test them. Katie?
Yeah. Hari Srinivasan, thank you very much. And we'll be back from Denver in just a moment. I'll be back with more from the Democratic National Convention, including speeches by Joe Biden and Bill Clinton. We'll be on TV at 10 Eastern, followed by our live webcast at cbsnews.com and cnet.com. Meanwhile, I'm Katie Couric in Denver. I'll see you again soon.